Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is really late. It is 3:47 a.m. and I didn't plan on sleeping this late. And it wouldn't normally be a problem except for tomorrow. I'm getting my hair cut. Not until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I have a bunch of stuff that I have to do first. I actually wanted to film my videos first before I went to go get my hair cut, so that I could just kind of do some stuff in the afternoon, some errands and whatever. So I hope I get up tomorrow when I want to get up, and I have to film my videos and then trim my beard and take a shower. So in that order. I actually opened a Diet Pepsi earlier, and this is flat that I am drinking right now. So I brought another Diet Pepsi with me, and I was just blasting this song. Hold on a second, it's hot in here. Well, of course it's hot, Peter. You have to heat up to 60 or 72 degrees. I was just blasting that song, Never Enough, but the Kelly Clarkson version from The Greatest Showman, which I've actually never seen that movie. I'm not big on musicals, but last year when I judged Miss Indiana, one of the contestants sang that song. And, you know, like, I got to hear it in rehearsals and prelim, like the prelim that week and stuff. Like, I heard her sing it like 4 times. And so it stuck in my head. She sang it almost flawlessly. And it was so incredible. She was not the winner, though. I think she was first runner-up. Actually, the winner of Miss Indiana last year, she did a song from the musical Waitress. And because I ended up downloading that song too. There were like 5 songs I downloaded. One of the songs I downloaded was, they would do this dance when they came out. If you've ever watched a beauty pageant in your life, which is weird for me to say that, like, because I've grown up watching beauty pageants on TV. I loved them. My mom and I always watch beauty pageants on TV. And I've gone to so many, I mean, they're scholarship pageants, most of them, but I call them beauty pageants. But anyway, I don't care if it's the local fair to the Miss Universe pageant. I just love a pageant, period. And drag pageants, I love. You guys know that. And, but there's always like a dance routine that they do, like at the beginning and stuff. And so, there was this thing that they would do, and it was so, now I wish I knew the song off the top of my head, but I don't know what the song is. Well, I can tell you what the song is, but I don't know how it goes. I'll pull in here because I was going to turn right anyway, so I'll just pull in here and look at what it is. But it was this thing, you know, they come out and they go, you know, Miss Chautauqua County. And then they would go like this. There was like this little dance they did while Miss Chautauqua County like walked forward and said, "Hi, I'm Judy Smith from Miss Chautauqua County, home of the corn," you know, something like that. But anyway, they would do it, and we had to watch this thing like 5 nights in a row because we saw 3 nights of rehearsals, and then we saw the night before, which was when they picked up like the final 10, and then we saw the final night. So we saw 5 nights of it. But that wasn't the only time that they used that song. They also used it for something that the Miss America pageantry system does, this thing. They got rid of bathing suits, and so now they do this thing called athletic wear, and you have to do like this 30-second or 1 minute like aerobic kind of like routine. What is that song called? Hold on a second. Well, the song, my head is killing me. It's a Carly Rae Jepsen song. And we like all knew all the words, and so we would like get in the van. Now that I found you, if I hear it, I'll know it. Hold on a second. This will be funny. Oh yeah, do 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 do, and they would all turn around. They'd like spin around. That was so funny. Okay, I'm gonna listen to that song later. But then I don't know what the song from Waitress is called. You would know it if you heard it. She was so great, and she did this like, she had like this little She Used to Be Mine from Waitress. But I think that's a different version that I have. I think it's like Sarah Bareilles or something like that. Do you guys know what song I'm talking about? She Used to Be Mine. Shoot. Songs. I wonder how many songs. Can you find out how many songs you have in your iTunes? That would be interesting. Oh, I have two versions of it. I actually have the Jessie Mueller version, Mueller from Waitress, and then I have the She Used to Be Mine version by Sarah Bareilles. That was so much fun. I was just thinking about this earlier because my dreams are so weird. I've talked about this. I have just the weirdest dreams. And like 2 or 3 times this week, I had dreams about that pageant and like judging that pageant. So I'll talk about that in a second, but tonight I had such bizarre dreams. I was like, my friend and I that used to work together, the one that I see every once in a while in treatment, she and I were sharing an office, and I was cleaning out this office. She and I were both cleaning out our offices, like organizing it, and it was pouring down rain outside. And I was taking like these huge canvases that I had painted, and I was like throwing them away, and like cleaning up and organizing everything. Like my desk and my everything was like super organized. And but what was like really weird was in the dream, like I was running outside and then running inside because it was pouring down rain. She and I were like running out into this like rainstorm and coming back in. And I like woke up and I was like kind of like a little, like my neck was like a little sweaty. It was really weird, like from running or something in my dream. But then I had tonight, and I have been having on a pretty regular basis, dreams about being on the Titanic. It's really bizarre. I mean, I haven't watched anything about the Titanic lately, and the other thing that's really strange about this is, whatever your belief systems is, you know, like I am such a believer that we each have a right to our own belief systems, but I am a believer that kind of past lives and things like that, and I think that we come back again and again, you know, until like it's our final life. And I've actually gone to so many mediums that have like the first thing they say when they look at me is they kind of like look and then they like kind of sit back and they're like, do you know that this is your last life cycle? I've had like several tell me that, like right out of the gate, like they can see it clearly. And one of them I even said, like, I told her, I said, that's the first thing. She said, has anybody ever told you that before? Because I told her I'd gone to other mediums. And I said, that's the first thing they always tell me. And she said, yeah, it's really, like, it's all over, like you, that this is your last life cycle. And she said that, she was the one that kind of explained it to me, that you know, we come back and we come back and we come back to learn certain things that we pre-plan before we come here as souls. And she said the first half of your life cycle this time was to learn certain things you hadn't learned, but the second half of your life cycle this time is to just enjoy your life and just enjoy the world that you live in based on the things that you've learned from all the lifetimes you've been here before. Well, that's what she told me the last time. I don't know how true that is, but whatever. But and did you guys notice that I didn't start out by sitting in the driveway tonight? Well, that was because I was kind of a little freaked when I was sitting in the driveway, because I'd had all these kind of like crazy dreams, and so I was sitting in the driveway and I was just like, I don't want to sit out here in the driveway, like I feel like I want to drive around. So anyway, I've also had I had a really bad migraine all day today. It rained off and on, even though it wasn't supposed to, I don't think, but it rained off and on today. And my head literally pounded all day long. And finally, like after I got up from taking my nap, or whatever you want to call it, from sleeping, my head felt a little bit better. And now that I'm out, it's starting to kind of hurt a little bit. Which I don't know what that's about, but and for everybody that always, I really appreciate the suggestions and the advice, but I actually have migraine disorder as a diagnosis with my epilepsy. So if you're new to my vlog and you didn't know, I have epilepsy, juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, and I have migraine disorder associated with that. So anyway, so I've had real bad headaches all day today. And so when I laid down, I fell asleep pretty quick, which I was glad because my head just really hurt. I told Alex, I was sitting there and he was watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. What did we watch? We watched something together, or I was watching the tail end of something with him. I watched the end of Vanderpump Rules and the beginning of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills with him. And then I was like, I've got to go lay down. I said my head is really, really hurting. I actually looked to see, because I had just gotten into bed and Tanya called, because I've been trying to get a hold of her. I looked to see what time it was, and it was 11:01 or 10:01. I think it was 11:01. Because I was almost asleep, and I looked over and somebody was calling, and it was her, and I was like, I'm just gonna go to sleep, I'm too tired. My head was hurting so bad. So anyway, and then I literally slept until right now, and then came out to the car, and I just was still kind of out of it, asleep. I slept so deep. I guess that's the other thing, is I'm remembering my dreams so vividly. Oh, this is what I was gonna say about the Titanic. You know, ever since I was a kid, long before the movie came out and all of that stuff, you know, we would learn about the Titanic when we were in school. And so I would have dreams about the Titanic when I was a kid, and I don't know if it's from that, but I've always been, that's been something I've always been really intrigued with. And then when the movie came out, of course, I went and saw that with my first boyfriend. I remember he was such a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan. We had to go on opening night, and we got there late, and we got a ticket, but we had to sit on the floor in front of the front row. And I remember literally watching it go by. We watched the boat go by like this. I remember that. But I loved the movie. I really did. I still do. It's still a movie that I could turn on and watch today. I have a really, really hard time. I don't know what it is. It freaks me out. I have a really hard time watching the footage, if you've ever seen it, where they sent that thing down to... I've been doing this thing recently. I did it with my review video today, where I think that my camera is filming and it's on record, and it's not. And I'm 5 minutes in, and then the camera... it's 3 minutes in, and the camera shuts itself off because it's not been on or not been recording, and I'm thinking that it's recording, and I looked over and I thought, if it's not recording, I'm gonna be so upset. But there's I don't know what it's called, but it's like a documentary, or it's just a show. I'm sure they have it on YouTube, because I think I've watched it on YouTube. It's like I forced myself to watch it, but it really freaks me out at the same time. And it's where they actually like send like that drone, underwater drone thing, like into the Titanic and around the Titanic. And you can see, I need to clean these windshields. I have the stuff actually that I want to review for my review video, to clean windshields and windows, and I need to do it on this. But they send it on the deck, and then they go into some of the rooms, and you can actually see like stuff inside the Titanic. That really freaked me out. And then I watched that. I haven't watched her in a long time. I totally forgot about her till I was just talking about it now. That I don't remember what her name is. She's a mortician. Like Mind of a Mortician or something like that is maybe what it's called. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? She like will answer questions about like not autopsies, but like how people that die and this is done and whatever. And she did one on like what really would have happened to the bodies on the Titanic. And that really freaked me out. Because she basically says that a lot of them like wouldn't have decomposed, because they would have like, especially if they were like inside, like, you know, like doors were closed, because they would have just been like stuck like in, because the water was so cold that, anyway, it just is freaky. It's just freaky. What is all of this, and what am I supposed to do here? Okay. Well, the road is closed. Since I have been driving around Indianapolis the last few days, one of the things I've noticed, so this was my mom's high school that she went to, Broderpool High School. Since I've been driving around the last couple days, one of the things I've noticed, you guys want to see the house that my mom grew up in? You're like, no, not really. It probably would be better to show it during the day. One of my friends lives in these apartments over here, Broderpool. Well, they used to be called Broderpool apartments. I don't know what they're called anymore. She used to live in these when we were like, she's like a new friend, but like we have some of the same friends from the past. And we were like, anyway, she used to live in those apartments, and we were talking, and she was like, oh, I used to go to this guy's, and we both know the same guy, and I like was friends with him, friendly with him, you know, and she was just friends with him. And she's like, I don't know how we never met each other back then. And he lived in Broderpool apartments. She lived in Broderpool apartments too at the same time. Look at that house. There's some adorable houses through here in Broderpool. I love Broderpool. So anyway, I don't know what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, just like the weirdest dreams about Titanic. And then I always wonder, like, was I on the Titanic? Because I've had this like eerie fascination with it. Do you guys ever have like kind of like a weird fascination with something like that you're connected to, and then you're like, well, maybe that's why, you know? It like prairie times for me too, you know? And it's like, I wonder if I have this weird fascination with the Titanic because I was actually on the Titanic, you know? I am a believer in, like, past lives and stuff like that. Especially after I read that Brian Weiss book, Many Lives, Many Masters. If you read that book, like, it kind of really, really changes your opinion about that stuff to some degree. Because, I mean, he was, like, he worked at, I can't remember where he worked at, like, Harvard or something, and he was a psychiatrist and did past life regressions, like, hypnotherapy. And he wasn't even intending to do that. That's just what happened as a result of him working with this woman. And then this whole thing came out where they were going back over all these lives that they had had before. My windows are so dirty and foggy. I was actually just looking at my car the other day, and I was like, you know, it's been a couple months that I have vacuumed out my car quite a few months. I usually don't do it in the winter. I usually do it first thing in the spring. So I miss that. So I haven't like vacuumed out my car. So there's all kinds of like, I mean, my car's clean, like as far as trash. I always like down here, all I have is, I have a fan. I have that fan that Alex's mom gave me. And then I have this hand sanitizer with a bird, which is completely empty, so I can throw her out now. She must have leaked because she was full. So, that's all I have, and I know there's nothing over there. But I usually keep my car like really, really clean. But I like to sweep it out, and I like to clean all my console off and all of that kind of stuff, and clean the windshield like once every month, typically. Now it's cold in here. There's never any in between. I want to get more of these. I kind of would prefer just to go to the store though. And get them. It's kind of why I wanted to get some of my stuff done early tomorrow. I thought maybe in the afternoon I could run around to a couple places, because I still haven't really been in anywhere yet. And I thought I could run in a couple places, and maybe if I went to Meijer tomorrow and it wasn't too busy. I think they're supposed to be open till midnight now. So maybe I'll go tomorrow night. But Tanya told me they were open till midnight, so I might go. I'm kind of ready to see Tanya at this point. I said to her, like, I said, well, maybe we could go to Meijer sometime this weekend. And we were kind of talking about it a little bit. And I mean, people here in Indianapolis are like seeing each other. I think you can like be together as long as it's under 25. And like in a week, that's going to move to 50. And Tanya and I still haven't seen each other. So, and we were talking about it kind of. We're both, you know, pretty apprehensive about it. But like, she's going to the store and I'm, you know, going to get my hair cut tomorrow. So it's like, well, if we're going to do that stuff, you know, we could probably at least see each other. And I said, you know, if you want to like meet at Meijer, we could even just meet at Meijer and just, you know, walk side by side while we shop in the store or something. And but then she fell asleep tonight and I fell asleep tonight. So that wasn't, you know, tonight, but I'm not ready to go back to doing like everything that I was doing before, as far as like going out to eat 3 or 4 nights. Well, we can't even here because the restaurants aren't open, you know, but I'm not ready to do all that. I'm not ready to just, you know, go do a bunch of social stuff, which for me is fine because I'm not a real social person anyway. I mean, as social as it gets for me is like 12-step meetings, but right now, most of the 12-step meetings, some are going back and meeting again. I think this was the first week that some did. And I think that many are like doing both. Like they're doing the Zoom meeting and you can come back if you want to. But I'm not comfortable going back to meetings yet. Tanya and I were talking about that. I told her, I said, I probably won't feel comfortable going back until, I don't know, like middle of June maybe. We'll see. I might feel differently about that. I'm not comfortable with it right now. I don't even like, I do need to go to the post office. I don't even like going places where they're, like if I, you know, when I'm out, like today I was gonna go to the post office and I drove by and there were like 3 cars out. And I was like, oh, like in that small place, I don't want to go in there. So I'm still kind of very weary of all of that. You know, and I think the other thing that's hard too is like, Indianapolis opened, you know, pretty quick. Like stuff opened pretty quickly here. I mean, it seems slow to me, but like, you know, that's just because it's my life, but things opened and I'm still not seeing anybody or really going and doing anything. And, like tomorrow's like the first real thing I've gone and done, and it kind of freaks me out a little bit tomorrow to get my hair cut. I had to sign this like consent form that I agreed to all of these terms, and so I have this mask in here, this black cotton mask, but then the mask I usually wear when I go out is one of these medical masks, or I don't know if they're considered medical masks or not, but you know what I mean? I got 50 of these online. So we have a bunch of those in our kitchen. But those are I'm gonna wear that one tomorrow. Just because I feel better about that one. Where am I at on time? It's weird driving around and not looking right at the clock on time. At least I kind of, even if I miss it, I usually know, like, okay, I've got like a minute or, 2 or 3 minutes or whatever. But, it's hard, like, when you see other states and, they're still completely, like, California and New York, like, I have a friend of mine that lives in New York that I talk to, and they're still completely on lockdown, and, California is similar to that, and, then Indiana is really pretty open right now. I talked to Caroline today, and she was telling, because we were talking about it, and she was telling me that she talked to one of her friends, and apparently, like, the CDC, so I guess what she was explaining to me was that the CDC comes out with, like, a recommendation, and then state by state get to decide what they're going to do with that. And she was like, did you hear what they said about the schools? And I said, no, what are they doing? And she said, well, they're going to bring the students back in the fall, but, like, they're going to keep, like, and this is just based on what Caroline said. She said to me, she goes, this was what so-and-so said to me. So she goes, I don't even know how true it is. But that there's like 6 feet between each student, that students will, I guess, stay in most the classes together or something like that. But Caroline and I were talking about it. And she was like, I think, she's like, I can't imagine, like, what that's going to be like for the students and the teachers. And I was like, and it was more than that, and it was like, I know, I can't, I mean, it's going to, I just think it's so strange we're living in this world where, like, all of a sudden everything has changed by this, I don't know, it's weird. And Caroline was saying that she went into Target for the first time, like, since all this happened. And I said, how was it? And she said it was crazy. She said, I said, did everybody have masks on? And she said, no, I bet only 25% of the people had masks on. And I said, really? And she said, oh, yeah. And I said, did you wear a mask? And she said, of course I'm wearing a mask. And she said, I wear a mask out of consideration for others. And she said, I saw Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek. He came out and put this little video up. And he said, the kindest thing that you can do in a day right now, when we talk about random acts of kindness, he said the kindest thing that you can do in a day is to wear a mask for other people. Because if you're a carrier, or if you have, like, a lot of people, I guess, now are asymptomatic, then you're potentially saving somebody else's life, by wearing a mask. And, I mean, the times that I've gone to the gas station, I haven't seen tons of people that have masks on. One time I did, they all had masks on, and then, I mean, the girl that worked there, she did. But what's surprising to me is getting fast food and they don't have masks on. That's surprising to me. But Caroline was like, yeah, she was like, there were a lot of people there. They weren't limiting the numbers. And she said it just was a lot. And she said, I don't know. But, and then it's that question of, like, well, like, I've said on here, like, I don't want it to be, well, this is what I've said to my friends. I don't know if I've said it on here or not. Like, I'm not comfortable being, like, everything, like, nothing and then everything. Like, one day we were, like, not doing anything, not going out, not doing this, not doing that, whatever. So it was, like, nothing to, like, then the next day it's everything. Like, going out to eat, being around friends and family, doing this, I mean, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, it has to be slow for me. And right now, to be honest, the only thing I care about is, like, seeing maybe 1 or 2 of my close friends and my family. Like, that's it. As long as I can do that and keep my circle small, I'm fine with that. But even on, I don't know, like, I'm not sure how I feel about everything right now. I guess that's most of it, is I just am not sure, on how I feel. And I guess that's how we're gonna all have to take it. Like, you know, like Indianapolis obviously doesn't have beaches and stuff like that, but I can tell you, if we had a beach here right now, or like if bars or clubs were open, I know, like, it stopped. I think we're just gonna have to kind of take it, well, I'm gonna have to take it day by day. So I've been thinking a lot about the pageant lately that I did last summer. That was hands down, you know, like, one of the best experiences of my life. Honest to God, it was. It's so much fun. You know, like, that just was so much fun every day. I mean, it was like all day, every day, you know? And, how many of us were there? There was 1, 2, 3. There was 5 of us? Is that it? There was 5 of us, and then we had the person that was in charge of us, and then her partner. Well, not her partner, but like her assistant. And every day, you know, like, we would go to lunch and we would go to dinner, and like, they had to drive us, and like, I mean, this is a Miss America pageantry system. Like, it was a big deal. Like, we weren't allowed to talk to any of the contestants. They would usher us into the hotel and usher us out. Like, I had to drive to the hotel. And like, then, you know, like, every day they would, like, you know, we would go into this room and we would sit there with our binders and stuff, and it was so much fun. It was so fun. And we had to have those binders memorized. Like, we had to go through, I can remember the night that we started it was like a Tuesday, I think. Maybe we started it on the Wednesday, and it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think we met on our Monday, and then we started on Tuesday, I think. And I remember we went in, and like, we introduced ourselves to each of us. Like, we went around and we did introductions. You know, I think it's a good lesson for me in remembering that sometimes those things, as a person that has social anxiety and is terrified of the world, that sometimes those things that are the scariest to me are the ones that become the most delightful, enjoyable experiences of my, like, life-changing experiences of my life, you know. And I haven't really talked to any of those people in a year. It's crazy to think that, you know, that, like, I haven't talked to any of them in a year. We've messaged each other a little bit back and forth sometimes, but I remember, like, that first night meeting everybody, I was so nervous. I was so nervous. We had these huge binders, you know, that had every, you know, contestant listed with all of their bio information and everything. And I remember we went in there, and then we had, like, all the bylaws and everything we were supposed to do and whatever. And I remember we went in there, and like, when they started, before, like, we went around and introduced ourselves, the girl that was, like, the woman that was in charge of us, she had been a judge, like, 10 years ago, and then she just started, like, being the person, like, collecting, so she collected our scores, and she drove us she was in charge of us. And so, like, there was, there were, like, the Miss Indiana judges, and then there was, like, the Miss, Outstanding Teen judges. And so there was, like, 5 of each judges, and then there was a person in charge of them. How did we tie, though? Because there had to have been 6 of us, because she broke the tie. Is that how it worked? Because there was one time that there was a tie. So was there 6 of us? Who's the judge I'm forgetting? And then the woman that was in charge of us, she was, like, probably 5 years younger than me. Her assistant had been part of the Miss America pageantry system for, like, 30 years. And she was a little bit older. She was, like, probably in her 60s. And she knew, like, everything. about judging and point systems and all that kind of stuff. Because I got very, you know, into the details of the point systems. Like, I wanted to make sure I understood all of it and everything. And it's not just like 1 through 10. It's like more difficult than that. And, but that first night, like before we introduced ourselves, she went around the room and she looked at all of us and she said, now, have you guys already picked some? You're like, have you already picked some that you're like really keeping your eye out for or whatever? And like everybody was like, yeah. And I was like, what? And she was like, did everybody, like, you guys all like have read your binders and stuff like that? And everybody had literally gone through and read every contestant in the binder. And I had done, like, briefly gone through, because you can see their pictures, you know, like they had a headshot, and then you would go through, and that, like, I can remember that night going home and going through that binder like nobody's business and writing down ones to look for and questions to ask. The thing is it's like you don't know who you're going to get your questions for to ask, because like we would get in there and then it's all completely like random. You would pick a number, and then, like, let's say if your number was 3, so you would go in question order of 3, and then, like, the first contestant that came in, it would be, like, odd questions. So 1, 3, and 5 would ask questions, and then we would judge them based on those people. So 1, 3, and 5 would ask a question that they had already pre-written down. So you would have to have 5 questions that were pre-written down, right? And then, like, the next one, you would come in and they would roll a dice. That's how they, like, something like that. I can't remember how they picked the number, but I think it's like they rolled a dice. And if it was a 2, then, like, even number contestants or judges got to ask the questions. And then we all judged based on those questions. So it was, like, so, like, the way that they did it was so, it wasn't like dice, because it was like more systematic than that, but it was so, the way that they did it, there was no way that you could have like set them up to know their answers. I mean, they were all kind of like caught off guard, the contestants, but you could just tell the ones that were, and then the other thing that was the age difference. Like, you could really tell the difference between, you know, some of these contestants, like it was their last year, they were going to age out, and some it was like their first year, you know, doing it. And some of them would participate in the pageant like every year for 5 years, you know, until they could no longer do it anymore if they didn't win. And actually, the contestant that won last year, it was her first time ever competing in the pageant system, and she was unbelievable. She was like, everything about her just was like incredible, and she just was a really, really neat, like, and there were a lot. I was really just blown away. I was absolutely blown away. Like, the service work, the community service, I mean, the grades that these contestants got, like whether they were in high school or college. I mean, the majority of them were on like Dean's List or Honor Society, top 1% of their class, and you know, some of them that had graduated magna cum laude, you know, from college, and that was like typically like their last year or two that they were in the pageant. And like, I mean, it was unbelievable, some of the things, like some of these achievements, it was unbelievable. But I think the greatest thing of all was like meeting my fellow judges and becoming friends with them. That was like the most fun. And you know, like we would eat lunch and do all that, and then during the day, and we would do like all of the judging, and then at night we got to go and I don't know why I always get so upset talking about this. It's like, you know, like, I'm just such a not social person that I don't allow myself to go do things. You know, like I'm thinking about like, we would like meet there at like, you know, 4:30 in the evening or 5, you know, and we'd dress really nice in the evening. Like all the women judges wore dresses and looked nice. And, you know, the other male judge and he were like, he wore a suit every day. I wore like, the 3 prelim nights, I wore jeans and a button down, and then the last 2 nights I wore a suit with a tie. But like, I don't ever do anything, you know, like I'm never a part of anything. I never participate in anything. And I never really have my whole life. Like, I've always been scared, you know? And, Alex and I had done mock interviews for the Miss America pageant. So, like, the Miss Indiana, before she went to Miss America, they had always asked us, way back in the day because of our website, if we would be part of the mock interview team, which is where you basically come in and they have like 6 people that they've picked for different reasons that are gonna just like shoot questions at the contestant, because that's like how it is for the interview for Miss America, to prepare her for it. And you can ask about anything. You can ask anything from politics to pop culture. You can ask her, you know, like something about Kim Kardashian, anything, right? But you would ask relevant things that were probably going on. And like right now, like a question that would probably come up in Miss America right now is like something to do with TikTok. To see like how on her, you know, like they ask a pop culture question, they ask a political question, but they can ask anything in like the prelim questions, and then you get the final night question, which is completely different. But so that she like literally gets questioned for like, I think it's like 5 or 7 minutes, and it's just one question after another. Like one judge asks a question, then she answers, and as soon as she's done asking, like the next judge asks, it's just like, so she has to be prepared for anything. So that's how we had started it. Well, for years, Alex and I got asked to do the mock interviews, and we would do it. We would go do these mock interviews, you know, as a judges panel, and it was so much fun, and we always had such a great time doing it. And we're kind of good friends with some of the people that are involved in all of that. And so I would say every year, I'd say, you guys, like, if you need somebody to be a judge, like, let me know. And they would say, okay. And then when I got the call, like, are you serious? Do you really want to judge? I was like, is this for real? And I really didn't know what to expect going into it. I just thought it would be like a day of judging kind of thing. You know, like I had done a lot of pageants where I had judged for like a day or like a weekend or something like that. I didn't know it would be so, it's so funny because I'm getting ready to pass the restaurant that we had our final dinner at in Zionsville, and I can't remember what the restaurant is called, but it was the night that we were like all completely dressed up, and it was right here on the left-hand side. Let's see if I remember what it's called. I probably won't, but it's like a really like well-known restaurant in Zionsville. I think it's this one right here, actually. Cobblestone. Yeah, it's Cobblestone. Maybe. I think it's called Cobblestone. But anyway, well, if it's not the Cobblestone, we ate at the Cobblestone one day. We ate at so many different restaurants in Zionsville because it was at the Zionsville High School. The final night pageant was. What was the other restaurant that we ate here? It wasn't Rosie's Place, because I know friends of mine that love that place. And it wasn't this place, Greek's Pizzeria. There was another place that we ate at. I don't remember what it was. But it was like tenderloins, and I had a grilled cheese, I remember. And, but I was so excited when they asked. And, I almost didn't do it because Alex like every year volunteers for this thing in town called the Zoobilation, which is a fundraiser for the zoo. And last year he was on their he got picked on their social marketing team, which was like 5 people. And it was on, I think our final night was on Sunday. I don't think it was on Saturday. I think it was on Sunday. So he got to be in the social marketing team. Well, he got 2 tickets to go to Zoobilation. One for him, one for me, obviously. And they're really expensive tickets. And it was this huge gala fundraiser. And so I had originally wanted to go with him. And so I said to the person that was in charge of me that week, I said, is there any way I could get off early to go to that? And she said, no, because you would miss the I think it was Friday night. So yeah, I think maybe it did end on Saturday. She said you would miss the Friday night. Okay, well there was a parade on Saturday that we were supposed to go to, and then it rained, so we didn't end up going to the parade, and then we went to lunch that day, and then I think we went home and we had dinner, and then we came that night. I don't know. I just missed my turn, but I don't know what night it ended on. But anyway, so I couldn't go to the Jubilation thing with Alex, and I thought he was gonna be real upset about it, and he was actually fine. He was like, no, he's like, I want you to do this, like, you're real excited about this, so go do this. So he did that thing on Friday night, and then I did my thing. Oh my God, I haven't been down this street. These houses are gorgeous. But you know, we were like, for half an hour there and a half an hour back every day from the pageant, we were in this big van, you know, we were in this like room together all day long, just cracking jokes. You know, we were all, like, I think the youngest one, she was like, probably Alex's age, so she was probably in her mid-30s. And then the oldest one, I think, was like 60, maybe. Oh, no, she's probably in her early 50s. And so we were all the same age, and we just had all these inside jokes, and I'm still not where I'm supposed to be. What did I do wrong here? We had all these inside jokes, and we just had so much fun, and we were just cracking jokes all day long, and, you know, drinking coffees, and it was just really fun, and it was so much fun. And like in the car, we would like sing that that Carly Rae Jepsen song. We would do the dance that they all did to it and laugh and stuff. And I remember the last night, this is one of the restaurants that we went to. I can't see what the restaurant is called from here. I don't know why, but I can't see it. There's a big C on it. But we were not allowed to talk about the contestants at all between ourselves. So like, but I couldn't say to somebody in the van, like, one of the reasons why the assistant was with her was because while she was driving, the person that was in charge of us, the other person would like we were just having like a big conversation, but like, if any of us said anything like, did you see, like, what did you think of like Miss Marion County's dress? Like, she would nip that conversation in the butt real quick. And we weren't allowed to do that. And you weren't allowed to talk about any of the contestants between each other, like none whatsoever. Like, there could be no conversation between like, do you think so-and-so deserves to win versus so-and-so, and you couldn't have any of those conversations. We weren't allowed to talk about any contestants between ourselves when we weren't in that room. And really, we couldn't even in that room. Like, when somebody left, like, we couldn't eye roll, we couldn't, you know, thumbs up, we couldn't say anything to one another about it. It was just next, you know, judge, next. You couldn't say anything. They were very, very serious about that. So the last night, after it was all said and done, we came back to, I think only one contestant, because she was from out of town, she was from New York, or only one judge was from New York. She, who was very, very cool, she stayed at the hotel, but everybody else stayed at their houses because they all lived, you know, local in Indianapolis. So we all went back to, the person that was in charge of us, she had a room, she had like a suite at the hotel, which is where like all the contestants stayed and stuff, and all the judges for the Miss side stayed. She had like a suite there, and like that her assistant stayed with her, and because they were there like all day long doing stuff constantly. And so like when we'd go home and take naps and stuff like that, she still had stuff to do. So we all went back to her room that night, and we like changed out of our clothes, and we had pizza in her room, and we were like, at that point we were allowed to say, oh my God, like I can't believe so-and-so didn't win, and, you know, like, I really, you know, like, oh my God, you know, Miss Marion County's dress was so beautiful, and we were allowed to say things, and it wasn't catty, it was all positive, you know, it was really nice. And I remember at the end, like, somebody got up, I can't remember who it was, somebody got up to leave and said that they were like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home, I'm really getting tired. And so they left, and we all started kind of leaving, and I remember, like, I started, like, really, like, getting upset. And you know, like, a couple of them were all teary-eyed. We had gotten so close, like, we were literally, like, inseparable for a week. I remember she even said to me, like, the girl that was in charge of us, because like we had sat on mock interview panels with her, Alex and I had before, and she's like, I'm gonna see you. She's like, we're gonna see each other. And I was like, I know. I was like, but this was kind of like a one in a lifetime kind of thing. And the thing with the judging thing is you can't do it for another 7 years, because the contestants have to age out of both groups, like, if that makes sense. So like all of the outstanding teens, they have to be able to age through outstanding teen and the Miss side. So it takes 7 years for that to happen, so that you could never judge the same contestant twice, if that makes sense, out of favoritism and stuff. And I remember I got in the car on the way home, and I just like weirdly, like just started bawling my eyes out. And I just was like, I can't believe it's over. It was like, as soon as I started getting comfortable and having fun with it, I was like, I talked about this on here last year. I remember talking about it, because it was in June, where I'm coming up right on the anniversary of it, but the anniversary of the, you know, it's almost the same time as the pageant last year, but I started crying so hard in the car on the way home, and I remember I got home and Alex was like, what's wrong, babe? And I didn't even really want to talk about it, you know. I just was like, I never participate in anything. I'm never part of anything. And you know, like, even on YouTube, it's like, I just do my thing, you know, like, here in Indianapolis, it's like, it's not like I live in LA and I interact with a bunch of other YouTubers, which, to be honest with you, I don't even know that I would want to. But, yeah, I live kind of like, other than like seeing Alex and Tanya, it's like I live this kind of very lonely life. And I don't feel lonely like I used to. I don't anymore. But, I'm not part of anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not part of any groups, or like, well, you know, like and I think that's why I do get so excited about the True Crime Book Club. It's like, it's something that like I'm part of that's bigger than me, right? But like, and I love doing the live streams and stuff, but at the same time, I don't know, it's like, I wish I had some human interaction, you know, like here, like I wish I had, you know, like my meetings and stuff are like that, but there have been times that like, in my sobriety, that I've been really, really active in service work. And it takes a lot of time, too, to be really active in service work. But there have been times that I have, and I've, you know, sat on boards and whatnot, and it just was something different about it. I don't know how to explain it. I think it was like a moment in time or something with these people that I just like so connected with, and we had so much fun together, and we shouldn't have, because we had so many things that were different from each other, you know, like, I think also like, I had such a good time. I had such a good time, you know, like every day, like walking in with our bags, and it just was such a good time. It just was so fun. And as I get older, I realize, like, I mean, I'm not 30, you know, I'm not 25, like, I'm not gonna have tons and tons of experiences like left in my life. I don't know why I'm so emotional tonight. I don't know why that stupid pageant, every time I think about it, gets me so emotional. It's like, I feel like I had such a great time, and then like I kind of beat myself up. Like, I'm like, you did this to yourself, you know, like, you've held back from the world your entire life out of fear, because people didn't like me when I was younger. I didn't participate. I wasn't in pep rallies. I wasn't in groups. I wasn't in sports in high school. I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to homecoming. I don't feel like I missed anything, but I didn't, you know. I have no clue. And I mean, there's been a few things here and there that I've been part of, but I feel like when I finally opened myself up and allowed myself to enjoy something, it was over before I even knew it. And then, like, I think to myself, well, I'm almost 50, and all these opportunities that have come my way, I've had a lot of opportunities that people have asked me to participate in things. If I told you guys how many things I've turned down in my life that I've been asked to participate in, I'm not talking about going out to dinner on a Friday night. I'm talking about organizations that I've been asked to be part of, and the only reason I haven't is out of fear, because I don't know what people will think, or if people will like me, or walking through that door is terrifying to me. And it's kept me isolated for so much of my life, you know? It's like I don't love walking into meetings that I've never been to before by myself. Like, I can do it, like, if I took Tanya with me or another friend or my sponsor. Like, I could go, but I would still be super nervous to go into a meeting that I've never gone to before. This is ridiculous at 25 and a half years sober, right? I can walk into a meeting and there can be 20 people in there that have less than a year each, and they're 100 times more comfortable than I will be in the meeting. It's weird. And so I vowed, because of these Zoom meetings and stuff that I've been doing, that when I get, like, when we can start going to meetings again, I'm going to start going to meetings, you know, like all over the city that I haven't gone to, because there's been a lot of meetings through the years I've wanted to try. And my sponsor is somebody that, like, if I said to her, I'm just going to make up a meeting, but if I said to her, like, do you want to try this meeting on, you know, Wednesday night at 8 o'clock? She'd be like, sure. I'd be like, have you ever been to it before? No. You want to go? Sure, let's go. She doesn't care. Like, she's so comfortable with all of that, and Tanya is too. And it's just, like, the social anxiety of mine, like, it just keeps me from doing so much. And I've tried so hard in my life to work through it, you know, and I have to honestly say that, where am I at on time? YouTube has been such a big factor on helping me get through a lot of it, because I have talked through a lot of it on the vlog, and I've also become more comfortable with myself, like on camera and off camera. And I started participating in things, and a couple years ago, you know, I just was like, I'm going to start doing things. I'm going to start doing things with my husband. I'm just going to go, no questions asked. I'm just going to enjoy myself, and I'm just going to have fun. And I will tell you, the other thing is this, that I know. So like, that's helped a lot. It's improved a lot since before getting on YouTube. If I marked, like, when I got on YouTube to now, like, my social anxiety has greatly improved, but it's still horrible. It's still bad. And it wouldn't seem that much to the people that I'm friends with, because they're like, but you go do all kinds of stuff. Yes, but I have to work very hard to work through it. Like, and just kind of like go and, hey, you know, like, I have to get, and I'm not comfortable for a while at first, you know. The other thing is, that's a huge issue for me, is my weight, because I'm so horribly heavy right now, and I have been for the last 6 years. But it's just gotten progressively worse and worse and worse now that I'm, like, the heaviest ever. That, you know, it's so hard for me, because I'm like, well, clothes don't fit, and if they fit, they're not comfortable. I mean, the last 3 months has not been great, because I've literally lived in sweat shorts and a 2XL t-shirt, and so that's comfortable, but, like, if I have to go and do anything, I'm screwed. Nothing's gonna fit. I tried on some jeans the other day. I literally couldn't even get them over my thighs. And you know, it's like, I don't want to go anywhere, because A, I'm not comfortable in the clothes that I have on, and B, I feel like I look horrible, and it's embarrassing. And so then that also affects my social anxiety, you know? But for some reason that week that I did like the pageant, like I think that's another thing is like, no, it stopped, and I don't know when it stopped, so I don't know what I missed. But I was starting to tell this story about, you know, when I came back into meetings, I had this friend, I had like a couple friends. I always say 3, but I think it was like 3 or 4 friends. And I quite frankly don't care if she hears this and she knows it's her. It really, it's whatever at this point. We're civil to each other, and that's about it. And it's not because I haven't tried, because I've tried very, very hard. But she was one of the people that I called when I stopped going out, which is so interesting to me. Like, you know, I think about this is like 7 years ago. I stopped going out, like, to bars and clubs on a regular basis because I wanted to get back into going to meetings and being part of recovery again. And because I hadn't gone to meetings in 4 years. And so I called like 4 people, and she was one of them that I really dearly cared about, and that I thought our friendship would extend past going out to a bar. And I said, and you know what's really interesting about it is, like, the majority of the people now, like, don't even really go out that, I mean, even before all this stuff happened, like, you know, with the COVID, like, they weren't really going out that much. Like, even Alex wasn't going out the way that he used to, and I thought, like, forever Alex would go out twice a week for the rest of his life, you know? Because Alex loves to go out and dance and have a couple drinks and enjoy himself, you know? And so I thought, but like, he even kind of slowed down with a lot of that. But Melissa was one of the people that I talked to, and I said that to her. And, you know, Melissa and I's friendship has, like, only gotten 100% better, like, and deeper and stronger through the years. And I remember I said to Melissa, like, I really want us to stay friends, but I'm not going to be going out that much anymore, if at all. And she said, do you think I care about that? Like, seriously? She's like, I want what's best for you. So, flash forward like a year and a half, this other friend that I had said it to, I had not heard a peep from her. You know, I would call her, I would text her, she wouldn't respond. Or every once in a while, it would be like I'd say, like, hey, I really miss you, we should go get lunch. And she would say, yeah, soon. Or whatever. So I made a comment to Melissa, and I said, well, I don't know what that's about, like, but, you know, like, my feelings are kind of hurt because she was somebody that was important to me. I mean, there's a lot of people that I could care less if I ever saw them again from bars, you know what I mean? That I wasn't calling up and saying, hey, your friendship is important to me, how can we maintain that if I'm not continuing to go out, you know? And so Melissa said something to her about it. She said, they were just having a conversation about something about me came up, and she said, well, Peter's feelings are really hurt. Like, he feels like he's reached out to you a couple times. And she goes, yeah, but he doesn't go out anymore. Like, our lives are completely different. And Melissa was like, but she can't have a friendship with him. And she's like, well, I enjoy going out on the weekends and doing this and whatever. And Melissa said, well, I know, but, like, can't you? And she goes, you know what? It's not my fault that he gained a bunch of weight and he doesn't want to go out anymore. What, girl? Seriously? Seriously. Now, I done called you and told you that I don't want to go out anymore because I'm going back to meetings. But then you saw me 8 months after that, and all I was doing was going to meetings, and so I packed on a good 20 pounds or 25 pounds, and which I did, and I have gained a lot of weight through the years. But you think I don't want to go out because of my weight anymore, which is part of it, like today, you know? But instead of saying to me, like, I don't care if I see you out, I don't care if you're, you know, like, I can remember, God, when I was, like, 185 and I thought I was heavy, which I wish for those days. And I was talking to a friend of mine. This is my friend that lives in Denver, but this was before he moved to Denver. And he would ask me to come to his house all the time for parties. And I would say, no, I don't want to come, I don't want to come, I don't want to come. Well, it was because I gained so much damn weight. And he would say, this is when I was with my ex, and he would say, no, I wasn't 185 then, because I was, like, heavy with my ex. Yeah, I wasn't 185. That's not true. I was in the 200s and creeping up. But he was like, You think I care about how you look? I care about you. You're my friend. I love you. I want to see you. But see, I hear people say that, but then it's the negative that always sticks in my head. Like, I don't care that, I can't help that Peter gained a bunch of weight and doesn't want to go out anymore. Like that. And who says something like that, you know? Do you ever do this? Like, I can't tell you how many times I tried to mend that friendship. Even after that, you know? And whenever I see her, I'm always so civil and so nice. I'm always like, it's so great to see you. How are you doing? You know? Do you ever do that? I cared about her. I considered her a diehard friend. I guess I wasn't, you know? And then I wish I should call her out and be like, when I see her, and be like, I don't even know what I'd say. It's been so long. Who'd care? You know, but I think all of that, you guys are like, this is a little bit more of a sad Peter tonight. I just think I've been real emotional today or something. Like, I'm real up in my feelings. I don't know what it is. I always kind of get real emotional like the month before my birthday and the month before my sobriety birthday, which are directly 6 months apart from each other, so that's always real great. But you know, like, I'm coming up on my birthday month, which for my husband is always like month of excitement and parties every weekend. That's what he likes to do. But for me, it's kind of a month of introspection of like, where have I been? What has my life looked like over the last, 47 years? I can't believe, like, for me, it's so bizarre that I'm going to be 47, which I know is not old, but it's older. And, I'm thinking to myself, like, my mom got sober when she was 51, and I'm right around the corner from that. And it's just, I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 30, it's like weird to me. Like Alex and his friends were talking on a Zoom meeting, a Zoom, like, well, this is the last time they did it. I don't know, it was like 4 of their friends. It was like Sarah and a couple of his other friends. And they were talking about how, like, they're getting so old. And, Alex is going to be 36 in June. And they're getting so old. And, like, what was the hardest year? And they're like, 31 was the hardest year. I'm like, talk to me about 47. You know what I mean? Like, talk to me about, like, almost hitting 50. And then you realize there's a lot of things that you wanted to accomplish in this world that you haven't even started yet, And I think that's the hardest thing, is it's like acceptance on some level of, acceptance of, like, being so happy with your life that you have. But, like, you also know that there are dreams that you want to achieve before you are gone from this planet, or whatever. But, like, are those dreams as important as my life that I have now? Like, am I willing to give up what I have to have those dreams? Or are they maybe not as important as I thought they were? Or is there a way for me to have both of them? Because there is for a lot, but not all. Let's just be for real. Not all dreams can you have what you have now and that. You just can't. And it's what's more important, But I think more than anything, getting older, one of the things, and I'm not a person that's like, oh, I hate getting older and the wrinkles and the lines and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to really embrace that as I get older. I'm really trying to embrace the wrinkles and the lines and the white hair. And, I was talking to my neighbor the other day because her, like, roots are really grown out and white. And she said, I can't wait to get into she's like, I tried to get in my hairstylist, but I can't get in for another 3 weeks. And, because I was telling her I was getting my hair cut. And, she goes, I told my daughter that I was thinking about growing it out. And my daughter was like, oh, Mom, don't do that. And I can remember, I was telling her that my mom and I, my mom had platinum blonde hair her whole life. And she would get a little bit of root growth. And she would say, I'm thinking about letting my hair go gray and white. Like, I'm thinking about just letting it go. And I would say, okay. And she'd say, well, what do you think? And I said, I'd say, I think it'll age you 30 years, but you do what you want. Like, I mean, I'll support you, you know, but like, and that's the sad reality, is that gray hair and wrinkles age us. And then what are we afraid of, I guess, you know? But if you don't care, you don't care. I don't care. But I think there's a real double standard in our society. I truly, truly believe this, that I have gotten more hit on the older I have gotten by women and men across the board, with gray hair and a white beard and even being overweight, than I ever did when I was younger. And I wasn't bad looking when I was younger. But I think women that are, you know, like, have white hair and all of that kind of stuff, I think it's, to some degree, like, there's this misconception that they've, like, let themselves go, which I don't believe whatsoever. But I think there's a real misconception of that, and it's a true double standard. It's crap, you know, that women, I don't know, my mom always struggled with it. She always just wanted to let her hair go gray and white. And I'd say, okay, do it. And she'd say, but I'm afraid that people will say I look older. And I'd say, yeah, they will. But if you're okay with that. I mean, I literally let my hair, I can remember when I grew my hair out. I was talking about this today on my review channel. So we got married in August of 2011. And while I was there in Vegas, Las Vegas, I didn't bring my electric razor. So I was going to have to, and I was at that point, like, doing little, like, 5 o'clock shadow kind of deal. Like, I would trim it down on a 1 on my, you know. But it started growing out. And I was going to either have to shave it or I was going to grow out a beard. And so I asked Alex what he thought. And he said, oh, I think I'd like to see you with a beard. And I had never had a beard before. So I was like, okay. I'd always kind of wanted to have a beard when I was younger, but like, I thought my mom would like be like, I thought it would freak my mom out a little bit. So I never had a beard when I was younger. So anyway, I started growing my beard out. Well, it grew in gray and white. And it's like, is this like delayed or something? I can't see. I need my readers who will see. But anyway, it grew in like gray and white. Now, when it first grew in, it wasn't as white as it is right now, but it grew in gray. I wish it had stayed that. It was like salt and pepper gray. And so I, windshield's fogging up. And, so I came home and I got my hair colored, and it was like my hair was brown and then my beard was white and gray. It was just so obvious. And we were over at my dad's house. It looked bad. It just really, then it looked like I was trying too hard. And I said to my dad, I said, I don't know what to do. Like, I really want to have a beard. And I had actually thought about like dyeing my beard. But I was already at that point, I had gone from like getting my hair colored like every 5 weeks to getting my hair colored like every 3 weeks. And having to touch up my roots in between. Like, it was getting bad. Like, the growth was coming in really quick. And it was super expensive. I mean, I was getting professional color every 3 weeks. It was really expensive. And so, I said to my dad, I said, we were sitting outside on his patio overlooking the lake, and my dad had white hair, you know, he never tried to dye it or fight it or anything, and I said, what do you think I should do? I mean, and I had been coloring my hair since I was 23, and people did not believe me, and I said, no, my hair started turning white when I was 23, started turning grayish white, and I had been coloring it for that long, and he said, let it go. He was like, what are you fighting? And I remember I went into my hairstylist and I said, cut it short. And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, I want to grow my gray out. And she goes, I don't really think that your hair is that gray. And I said, trust me, it's that gray and white. And she goes, no. She's like, I don't really think it is. She's like, I've been doing your color for a long time. I don't really think it's that gray and white. I said, okay. I said, but anyway, cut it short because I'm ready for it to grow out. And so she did. And I remember I came in the next time and she was like, your hair is really gray and white. I said, I told you it was. And I think it took me about 2 cuts to grow it out, or 3 cuts. And then it was all gray and white. And at first it was kind of salt and pepper, and I really liked it. There is still some in there. I love it now. I love the gray and white now. Now, don't get me wrong. If I could have a brown beard and a brown hair like I had when I was growing up, I would go back to that if it was natural. But I would do this, you know, and, but it does age me. I mean, literally before, like, when we went to go get married, I mean, people were guessing me. I was, at the time that we got married, I was like, what, 40, 41? It was 2011, so I was 39 when we got married. And I was getting guessed for 32, 33. No older than 33. But I was getting, you know, people guessed me really, really young. I had also had Botox twice, but I will never have that again. And Alex, like, he gets Botox and he does all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, hey, do your thing, you know? Like, I support anybody that wants to do their thing, do aesthetics, color their hair, whatever, do it. Do what makes you happy. I think that's the thing. And I don't judge people for that. I think that they should do what makes them happy, you know? And for me, I really love, I heard Diane Keaton say in an interview, I think it was Oprah asked her if she had any work done on her face. And, you know, like, my dad's a plastic surgeon, so I have, like, he's never had any work done himself, but I don't judge anybody that does. Like, you know, you do your thing. You do what makes you happy. But I remembered seeing an interview with Diane Keaton on Oprah, and I wish I could find it, and she said, actually, I haven't ever looked, I don't think. And she said, have you had any work done on your face? And she said, no. She said, I really believe in, like, aging authentically. And I really liked that, you know? But had you asked me at 30 years old, I would have said, I'll color my hair until the day I die. I'm going to have a facelift. I'm going to have my eyes done. I'm going to have Botox, if I had known what Botox was back then. You know, all that. I'm going to get filler. I would have been that person. I really thought I was going to be that person. And I'm just not. Like, I love to use the creamers and the hydrating face masks because it's fun. Do I think it works? Yeah, sometimes I do. Do I think... No, I think probably for you to have skincare products that are really going to work, you have to use medical grade stuff, is really truly just what I believe, you know, but I like using that stuff. Do I think it helps? Sure, I think it helps. I think anything can help, you know. Hell, I've lotioned my body for 30 years. I literally, with weight up and down, up and down, up and down my entire life, I have one stretch mark that's that big. Don't tell me that's not from lotioning and water. I mean, I just truly believe that it is, you know. So I think anything helps, but I think that was really hard for me at first, was like when my hair started growing out, and I would say to people, like, well, how old do you think I am? And they would say 55, and I'd be like, what? Like, when literally 6 months before I was getting guessed for 32. Like, it was night and day. And it was all because I didn't gain that much weight over that period of time. So it was all because of just my hair and beard, you know? But now I don't really care. What I care about is, and I've said this a lot on my vlog, and I haven't talked about it for a long time because I would talk about it in reference to pee-pee a lot. And whenever I talk about it, it always makes me think of pee-pee. What I care about is that time is going too fast, you know? Like, now it's not pee-pee anymore. Now it's Boo and Tucker, you know? And, like, I was laying in bed this morning when Alex left for work, and I woke up, and I was looking at Boo, and they're gonna be 11 this year, you know? And it's like, I mean, Pee didn't make it to 14. So, like, I've got less than 3 years with these guys, possibly, you know? I just feel like everything's changing and everything's going so fast, and it's just like, I want life to slow down. I so want life to slow down. It's just, everything goes so fast, you know, like one day. And I think, like, one of the reasons why I get so stuck talking about my mom a lot is because that whole year was like such a life-defining year for me, you know? Like, I got out of a relationship with somebody that I thought I would be in for the rest of my life. And we were together, you know, 6.5 years. I resigned from a position that I thought that I would be in for the rest of my life. And I had been at 13 years, and then my mom passes away, you know? And everything in my life changed that year. And, I mean, it was literally like, I felt like I had no ground underneath me. And so I think a lot, I go back to that, you know, of my mom passing away, because it was really the end of an era for me. It was at the end of a very long era of which I had felt very, you know, I don't know. It just was a big part of my life. And, you know, then Alex and I got together, and Alex was different, and Alex was wild and liked to go out a lot, and it was really fun and stuff for me at first, but like, I couldn't see how that would fit into my life over long term. Like, I didn't want that long term, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to go out to bars all the time for long term, and he didn't want to stay home and be settled, which is so funny because, you know, now he loves that. And now I love, you know, like, going to music festivals and traveling and stuff. And it's like, I don't know. I think we complement each other very well and all that stuff, but there was a period in time, you know, like, with Alex and I and the dogs and all of us just in the house. And I didn't think about getting old, and I didn't think about anything but what was the next book that I was going to read. There are all these people walking at 5 o'clock in the morning. What is going on? It's like, what? I just passed, like, oh my God, there's another one. But I didn't think about that stuff. I didn't think about getting old, and I didn't think about the dogs being sick or being gone. And, you know, like Boo Radley, I let Boo and Tucker out today, and Boo just, like, ran towards, like, there's this yard, big yard next to our friend, like, our neighbor Laura's house, and he just ran over there, and then he came, hop, 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 and it was like he was a little puppy again. But he's not a little puppy, you know? And I just noticed, like, subtle differences in them. They sleep a lot, you know? And I think, I know, like, I'll get through whatever. You know, like, I miss the crap out of people. Okay, the battery died. I had to pull in here to change the battery. I don't know, I was saying, you know, like, I miss the crap out of PP. I think about him all the time, you know? But it doesn't hurt as much as it did at first. I think about him a lot, but I miss him like crazy. It was so funny because, like, Alex, he took the dogs out the other night, right before we were getting ready to go to bed, and I went to go say, don't forget to give PP his medicine. It was so weird. I haven't done that in, like, I don't know, over a month. And, I know I'm gonna be okay in whatever I go through. But there are just some days that and I don't know, like, there are some days that I just don't want to, you know, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was because of the age that I was at when my mom passed away, or that my mom passed away at a pivotal period of my life when I was going through a lot of changes anyway, or what happened, but I do believe that my mom's death at that time put this, like, ticking clock on me, where I feel like I'm on, like, real borrowed time. Like, I feel like that. And I feel like it goes right back to her death, and I don't know why. Like, I've had a lot of my friends, it's not like I'm, you know, Caroline, her mom and dad are both gone. It's not like I'm like this isolated situation. I've had a lot of friends of mine that have had parents pass. I've had a lot of friends of mine that have had parents pass in the last 12 years that my mom has been gone, right? I don't know what it was, but to some degree, like when she passed away, and I don't even think I recognized it for a couple years, and I think it was really like when I came back into the rooms of recovery, it was like this life that I wanted, you know, of just, like, I don't know, like this just normal life, you know, of, I don't know, I guess I didn't really realize what I had until it was gone, if that makes sense. And then I started realizing, yeah, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, you know what I mean? Like, life is going on, and I feel like to some degree I measure my life by the endings and the goodbyes instead of the exciting events that happen and things that I can participate in my life. I measure time with, you know, Pee-Pee passing away, my mom passing away, and, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want to look at everything in my life about, like, well, how much longer are Boo and Tucker going to be? I don't want to look at my life that way, but I do. Not every day, but there are days that I do, you know? And, you know, I used to say on here all the time, like, I wish life would slow down. I do wish life would slow down. But, you know, the reality is, and I said this on my Purisms channel, or I said it on here, or I don't know where I said it, but to some degree, recently, like, life has slowed down. Like, I think that's why I got so upset when Alex had to go back to work, because it was like, I really enjoyed all of us just being there together. You know, every day I would wake up and, like, Alex doesn't have to do anything this weekend. He's so excited. He's like, yeah, I'm back at home for, you know, the weekend or whatever. And, I said, what are you going to do? And he said, nothing. I'm just going to lay and watch TV and whatever. But, I don't know. I just, like, it's hard. And I don't know why today I'm feeling it a little bit deeper, you know, or why I don't know what it is. Like, if you had asked me 4 hours ago, are you sad today? I would have said no. I would have said I feel things deeper today. I sat and watched a bird today building a nest forever, and I don't even know where this bird was getting, I don't even know where she was getting stuff from to build this nest. She had this, like, long, thin, like, plastic. It looked like, you know, like plastic that, like, plyboards come, like, wrapped in, you know, and tied in. It looked like that, but thinner. And it was, like, bent this way and bent this way. And she, like, was carrying it, but it was, like, you could tell it was, like, hanging so much that it was, like, heavy for her. And so she, like, went and she, like, bunched it up together and then picked it up. And I'm like, don't tell me birds are not smart. She knows what she's doing, right? And I watched her build this. I'm like, Peter, what is your obsession with birds lately? Like, there's something just very, I don't know what it is. It slows things down for me. There's something about just sitting there and drinking a cup of coffee and watching a bird build a nest that I find such just grace in, or something. I don't know, just such peace. I know that sounds corny. I don't even understand it myself. And the thing is like, you know, like, the more you talk about something or the more you know, it's called something, I can't remember what this is called, somebody can put it in the comment section below, but the more you talk about something or notice it, the more you see it, like, all over the place. Like, I literally notice birds all the time and what they're doing now. Like, it's almost kind of, like, I was telling Tanya that I wanted to go to Meyer to get some birdhouses and bird feed and stuff like that. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say like I'm losing it with the birds, but like, I don't know, there's something about it that is just it's very peaceful for me to sit and watch. And it slows things down for me. And I really enjoy it. And so yeah, like, life is slow for me. I'm sitting here and I'm like looking at this beautiful yard over here. I mean, like, life is slow for me. I listen to my audiobooks, I watch some TV, Alex and I hang out, we have dinner, we lay in bed, we talk. You know, it's like I take a nap. Like, my life is slow. And I enjoy it. But like, if I could just stay like this for the next 50 years of my life, I would be completely content. Like, I don't need anything to change. I don't need anything more. I don't need any fanciness or any of that kind of stuff. If I could just keep my life like this for the next 50 years, you know, and Boo and Tucker would be here and Alex and I would be the same for the next 50 years, I would be so content. And I know that that's not a reality. Like, I know that that can't happen, you know? And I know that I'll be okay. I don't know, and maybe that's what peace and serenity is, when you find that you're truly happy just with what you have, and you don't really want a whole lot more. And I'm not talking about houses or boats or cars and whatever. I mean, there's always going to be things that we want, right? I'm talking about the condition of our lives. I feel pretty grateful to have that. There's been many periods of my life where I just didn't want what I had. You know? I was miserable and I was unhappy. I was sad. And I don't mean sad, like, as a result of, like, my mom passing or something happening in my life. I just been sad, like, just miserable with life, and like, just not grateful, just not happy with what I was given. Like, I couldn't even, like, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but like, I was thinking to myself, like, I couldn't even be happy with like a bowl of chili in the fall. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Or like some corn muffins, or, you know, playing a card game with friends, or getting a fountain pop with Tanya. Like, none of that made me happy. You know, watching a new TV show on Netflix, like, all of that stuff makes me happy. Like, all of those small things, you know? I remember watching the movie Night Mother with Sissy Spacek and Anne Bancroft. I love that movie, but it's about a woman that's decided to take her life. And it's the last night that she spends with her mom. And she's trying to explain it to her mom, and although I have never felt that way, like, in my life, so I don't relate to that necessarily. There have been periods in my life where I just didn't care. I feel like I just kind of given up. And she says something, like her mom says, have there ever been times when it's gotten better? And she says, yeah. She was like, you know, I used to say to myself, if maybe I had something to live for, like tapioca pudding. And she kind of like looks up, and like, I used to get that. Like, that made a lot of sense to me. Like, I would have these just periods in my life where I just was so sad and down, and I thought, if I could just get to Christmas, or, you know, like, Christmas will be better, or, you know, at least every day I have peanut butter and saltines or something, you know? But those things, like, never really made me any happier than the others, than not, you know? And I think that, like, that's where you know that, like, being content and peaceful and serene and happy is, it's internal. That's not outside stuff. That's internal. And so whether, to me, this is where it doesn't matter to me if you like high-end luxury stuff or not, because what I know is, it's okay to have that stuff. Like, we should all be able to, like, you know, if you want to go buy a $20 book or a, you know, $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag, if you can afford it, whatever you want, but just realize that might put a smile on your face, like Alexis says in Schitt's Creek, but it ain't gonna make you happy. Not long term, it's not. And I'll tell you how I know that. Because if a bowl of chili isn't gonna make me happy, if some, you know, what do you call it? Chocolate chip cookies that are homemade aren't going to make me happy long term, well, neither is a Louis Vuitton bag. Let's just be for real, you know? Because homemade chocolate chip cookies have a lot more to offer than a bag anyway, and they can't take away sadness. They can temporarily make me feel better and happy, but they can't take away sadness, you know? So I think it's about being internally happy. And you know what's so weird about all this for me is, I'm not, like today, I'm not crying and emotional. This is the real kicker of all of this, okay? I'm not crying and emotional because, like, I'm sad or I feel like everything's passing me by, which I kind of do feel like things are passing me by. Like, I feel like I just want to stop time. I'm sad because I'm so happy in my life that I feel like I have everything I want. I just want to stay in this moment forever, you know? I don't want this moment to pass me by. Like, I don't want to keep on getting older and older. And it doesn't about like the number or the wrinkles, like I said. Like, I don't want to, like, you know, be like, do you remember Boo and Tucker? Like, I don't want to do like how Alex and I are with Pee-Pee, like laying there in bed looking at pictures of Pee-Pee. Like, I don't want to do that and be like, we don't have any dogs anymore. And, you know, like, I just don't want that. I don't want that. I just don't want it, you know? So, I'm sometimes not ready for what comes next, I guess. I don't know. But, I'm just going to keep on talking in circles about this all night long if I don't get off here. So, I'm going to get off here and listen to a little bit of my Skinwalker book, which is terrifying. And, I do feel so grateful for the life that I have. I feel so completely happy with the life that I have, you know, that I think I just want to hold on to this forever, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. But I'm going to close this out now so I can get off here. If you guys made it this far, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. There's this house right here, I just have to say, that I used to drive by here. And they were building it. And if you live in north side of Indianapolis, it's like right before you get to I think this is 160th Street on Gray Road. It's 161st on Gray Road to the left, and it's this huge house. And I actually thought it was going to be like the clubhouse for one of these big $1 million home housing districts, because you're right by Bridgewater over here. But it's not. It's somebody's individual home, and it's gorgeous. And it looks like this huge, like, white pillared estate kind of thing. It's crazy. But anyway, if you guys made it this far, thank you for watching this far. And if you liked the video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment below if you'd like to as well. Please make sure that you're still subscribed to this channel and all of my channels. I would really, really appreciate it. Also, put a blue heart in the comment section for me, for you, for all of us, for all the essential workers out there. Just blue hearts. And for the OG Wolfpack, that's all of us out there that are just trying to get by together in life. And, alright, I hope you guys are having an amazing, I can't believe it's Friday already. I hope you're having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun. Do something exciting today. Make the most of your day. Start a new TV show. Read a new book. I'm going to be starting Dear Dawn this weekend. Like, really getting into it, which is the Eileen Wuornos book that I should have started 2 weeks ago because it's so long. And, yeah, start something new. Let me know what you're starting in the comment section below. Maybe a new craft. Has anybody got that diamond stuff that you, like, pick the diamonds and put on there? Let me know what you think about that if you have it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? You see it like all over the place advertised, like on Instagram and stuff. And it looks like a coloring book, but it's like these diamond things instead. It looks very cool. And do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it tomorrow or next day or next week or next month or next year or 10 years or 60 years or 69 years from now. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I need my reading glasses, so like when I get close to the camera, I can't even see if it's out of focus anymore. But anyway, I love you. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you do your daily affirmations. And today I'm just gonna pick one, and that is, you matter. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you don't matter. You matter, and your life is important, and you are worth it. And say that to yourself every night and every morning when you get up. And also do your other daily affirmations, your gratitude list, your prayers, your meditations, if that's stuff that you believe in. Every night before you go to bed, say tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to have a great day tomorrow. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. And I'm going to have great opportunities come my way. And I'm going to have really fun, exciting, positive experiences tomorrow. And if I get off track, then I can start my day over whenever I want. And yeah, and then when you get up tomorrow morning, say today is going to be an amazing day today. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day today. And I'm going to have great opportunities come my way, amazing opportunities come my way. I'm going to have positive experiences, exciting, positive experiences come my way today. It's going to just be a great day. And if I get myself off track, I can start my day over whenever I want. And yeah. Also, that's one of our greatest tools, is being able to start our day over whenever we want. Also, make sure that you reach out to somebody today and let them know how important they are to you. Just text them, call them, and say, I wanted you to know I was thinking of you. And hey, how are you? Or I love you, and I wanted to pass on some love to you, or whatever you want to say. Also, practice random acts of kindness, but like I always say, don't tell anyone. Just do it to be a good person. Just do it to put some good kindness, compassion, love out there in the world. We could all use a little bit more love. We could all use a little bit more kindness and compassion, I think. I know I could work at being better at that, and we just need it. We need the world to be a loving place. I'd like to buy the world a Coke. Remember that? Anyway, let's just do all that. Let's be better people and put some good and positivity and love and compassion and kindness out there in the world. And I think that's it. So I hope you guys are having, like I said, an amazing Friday, beginning to your weekend. Let me know what you're doing this weekend, if you're doing anything, or if you're gonna do something exciting while you're stuck inside. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching again. I really, really appreciate it. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Love ya. I love ya.